Good morning, US. Good afternoon and good evening to the viewers, whichever part of the world you're viewing this particular program, which is your Global Electronics Friday talk show with your host, Rajiv Kulkarni. Yes, today, good morning, California, because I am in California today. It's pretty early here. It's 7 o'clock right now in the morning, and I'm pretty sure you guys are who are in India. They are like celebrating the almost the Friday, the weekend, and it's in the evening right now. So people in Europe, it's afternoon, and good afternoon to you. And thank you for watching our Friday talk show every Friday. Last Friday we didn't have the show because it was July 4th and it was a holiday here in the US. So Global Electronics main purpose of Friday talk show is to bring the electronics community together with a lot of information from the technology experts that we have in the electronics community and share the knowledge in the electronics manufacturing process. So it can be the challenges that we face, it can be the trend of the electronics market, or it can be something related with the processes. So today's topic is very interesting topic that we have the importance of NPI, new product introduction, that how important and how challenging and how and what are the role of the NPI manager and so on and so forth. We are going to discuss the first part of this particular session on the NPI. So we'll have two sessions on the NPI. One is today and the next one is probably next week that I need to check with the guest his availability, and we'll have it in two sessions on the NPI side of it. So Global Electronics talk show is basically bringing anything or any topic that is related to the electronics manufacturing. And if you are interested, definitely you can write to us. And also we have the YouTube comment section open and you can ask questions, and we will be happy to answer within the stipulated time. So again, once again, welcome to the show and thank you all for supporting the channel, and please do subscribe to the channel. And because the more the subscribers, the more the viewership, which is definitely a support to the guest as well as support to the electronics community. So with that said, I'd like to briefly introduce our guest today. And he is an engineer, of course, and he is been in the electronics manufacturing sector for the last 20 plus years. He's based out in southern part of India, which is called Chennai, India, and he works for a very huge corporation in the electronics manufacturing sector or the electronics manufacturing services as the NPI engineering manager. And he brings a wealth of experience in processes in the manufacturing sector of electronics manufacturing, especially related to the SMT side of it, that is surface mount technology processes. So Mr. Vishwanathan Venkatesan, let's welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show, Mr. Vishwanathan. And you can unmute your both audio and video, and welcome to the show. How are you this evening?
So, hi, good evening, Rajiv. So, thanks for introducing me in a brief manner. And of course, it's a weekend start point. It's on Friday. So, too happy to have a quick talk like show with you and with the global team. and of course, which is more on the technical segment of this factor. So I can say that good evening to all of you. So it's
Thank you.
really it's a good factor to have more related to the interactions about the topic on technical factors, and to share my opinions and my experience about the industry knowledges, what we have been
Mhm.
gone through that, and the practical experience what we gain, and we've been saying on a day-to-day basis. So it's really happy to have this time with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vishwanathan, because I know that you are heavily or engaged in your activity in the as far as the professional is concerned. But thank you for taking the time and planning to share the wealth of knowledge. So, Mr. Vishwanathan, let's continue our discussion. We are talking about the new product introduction topic today. And let's understand what exactly is NPI and what is the purpose of new product introduction phase in the electronics manufacturing.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for taking this topic into our discussions, where it seemed to be right now on the emerging technology time. NPI is one
Mhm.
of the key factor where we have to consider for all the area, because of course, in terms of technology frontage and going moving on the various factors, NPI is one of the key unavoidable factor across all the manufacturing segments is being categorized. Of course, it's a common term. NPI means it's a new product introduction.
Yeah.
It can be generalized with or irrespective of any industry. It can be
Mhm.
electronics, it can be automotive, or whatever the products we make. NPA is one thing can be incorporated. And of course, we can also say this new product introduction methodology or a mechanism as one of standard methodology as we follow in other process methods, especially like statistical process method or measurement system analysis methods, or a way of habitating of uh, executing a process.
Yeah.
So that's a generalized part I mentioned to say.
Okay.
So of
So
course,
normal. Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we can have a detailed understanding on this part in the further discussions also.
Okay, okay, great, great. So I know that you are engaged as an NPI engineering manager, and basically how the role of an NPI manager differ, or if somebody is working as an NPI manager, how that role differs from that of a traditional project manager in an organization.
Of course. Uh, in a common terms, project manager is a very wider way. In all type of projects, we can able to see there is a project manager being involved for any new task, and which is a very wider range of scopes will be covered under a project manager.
Mm-hmm,
Of course, NPA manager is can also be as in a branch of divisions where this project manager under the category. But the
mm-hmm,
information is like a project manager takes a wider role. They covers many area as well as on the phases of categories. Especially, they will be more involvements on covering the design part, proto build,
mm-hmm.
productions, as well as during ramp up, even the commercials, even the metrics of executing a project levels. These being there taken into consideration for an overall project manager. But
Okay.
whereas comes to an NPA manager, which is a very specific role, and which is more concentrated to take in a particular cross-functional process to make sure that the engineering, the manufacturing, as well as the launching of a product is being coordinatedly concentrated on an execution form. Of
Okay.
course, this coordination is much more needed because there will be varieties of departments being involved in a common goal to execute a certain point of result. And in this portions, like we need to have an coordinator guy and a
Mm-hmm.
navigator in the same we can say, who has to take lead on the past, the present, and the next future of a
Mm.
particular task. So there should be a one guy who monitors its sequence and then make sure that he pre-alerts the informations about the risk and then takes the result of the present and then think about the past, what has been gone good and gone bad, and taking forward for the next leap step to go move on. So by this way, like the individual disciplines, for example, engineering is a separate discipline and they
Yeah.
have a separate design of working, and manufacturing guys have a separate way of working and separate characterization peoples are there. And when it comes to the sales guys and marketing launching guys, they doesn't want to care about what's challenging you guys are facing. Just give me my product. That's the only answer they make, because it's a world of marketing. It's like a gambling. Anyone, if we don't launch the product by today, tomorrow one more guy will launch. So the
Yeah.
time to factor is very much important, and it's all about the timing. For example, when
Right.
we take for today, we have been scheduled to start our meeting by 7:30. So
Right.
by 5 minutes before, we take the point of getting the introduction and getting done. And now I can say that for our meeting, you are going to be the NPA manager. So you leads the portion and you leads the front line and take it further. So
Mm.
this particular task of in a region of completing a product will be leading by NPA manager, but whereas for the overall picture of the entire project concentrated by a project manager. So that's how we can able to see an exact role why there is an NPA manager is needed.
Wow. Very beautifully explained, Mr. Vishwanathan. So, can you walk us through, like, what are the normal steps are involved as far as NPI process is concerned?
Of course, yeah, of course. As I just mentioned it, why this NPA is being came across,
Mm.
because we can still make products, but in
Right.
mid of 20s,
Right.
like in the 20th centuries, we can able to see a lot of industrialization has happened on the market,
Right.
and there is a lot of knowledge people have been there in the market. They have the resource, the funds, and there is a lot of competition is there for a quality product. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, the product has to be satisfied the need of the users.
Yeah.
And since in mid of 20th century, like we can able to see a lot of goodwill has been happened globally, and a lot of globalization also being taken into care by all the countries. So these factors has given a big lead for the bigger organizations to take lead on their part of how to execute a products.
Mm.
So of course, whenever there is a need for a new product to start, there must be a category of actions or phases to be executed. And for a new product introduction, generally what we used to take into consideration is on the concept level, first way, what the purpose and the scope of that new product has to be clearly made sure by everyone. And then
Mm.
comes the design and the development phasing, because of course we have to have a small prototypes. Before that, we have to have a detailed plan and a design to make it happen. And then we have to make a small product. Of course, it's much more needed to make sure that what we make on a bigger size is reasonably is going to be executable. Of
Yeah.
course, and after that, we need to have a small pilot build and a small quantity build to make sure that it is reachable for a mass production. Of course, many of the projects we can able to see during the prototype itself found to be very good, very nice, and but during mass production times, they are not able to catch up the plan, and some of the products will not able to sustain on market because of costly or because of various factors. So during proto build, of course, the functionality and the goodwill of the product, what it is entered, is being checked. Whereas
Mm.
during the pilot build, it is make sure that it is economically be worthful for the sponsors or for
Okay.
organization or for a developer to be carried. Of course, then the launching of the product will come into the care, because once we have been very pretty sure on the product result as well as it could be. And comes to the launch way, once the launch readiness been make sure that we make a small advertisements and everything is make sure and small demo will be provided to everyone, makes attracts the market to concentrate on the product, and then the final product launching will be coming to the care. So this is how and a small cycle process of a new product introduction can be carried forward. So to make sure that uh, the result of the product found to be safe, and it should be good enough for the users to understand its purpose, because on a while you cannot make shorter time lead period of taking a product so that the team is not able to understand it, or a longer period of time team will not be, or the users will not be ready to take into care. So is in a way like normally 5 to 6 stages have been maintained in NPA.
Wow, interesting. Very, very interesting. So basically, concept, then the design and development, then you're talking about prototype and validation, then pilot production, then launch the production, and product launch or product release in the market. Pretty much
Yes,
that is the
for
process.
taking for sales and everything. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very interesting. So how do you actually ensure that cross-functional alignment across R&D, the manufacturing, because there are so many departments within the manufacturing companies, whether it's R&D or manufacturing, marketing, and supply chain, during an NPI project.
Because that's a good question. Um, Alignment on with the CFT team in the market is one of the key. I can suggest it that it is one of the key factor of NPA manager to take into care, because it's as if uh, like making sure that the entire your home people's everything, everyone will assemble in a place and stand
Hmm.
still in a place and make sure that everything is understanding. Of course, this is something like of collectively making sure that understanding everyone and make sure that no one has been influenced, at the same time no one has been harmed, or
Mm-hmm.
no one has been overlooked or underlooked.
Yeah.
At the same time, everyone has been equally valid. At
Mm-hmm.
the same time, the result what is intended to coordinating with them is been achieved. So it's more like in a diplomatic factor, I can suggest to say on this particular point to brief them how this has been handled. Of course, this is a very common factor where many of the NPA or non-NPA team fails, because the cross-functional alignment between the key factors will always be a big challenge, because everyone has their own goal
Mm-hmm.
and they want to drive for their result to get achieved. So they will not give the much more priority, or sometimes in a very common way we can see the ego. People has their own ego when they grow on their part and they say that I'm right. So when they say I'm right, another guys will say you're wrong. So we need to be have some person to coordinate with both of them to get the result to be done. So in my perspective, to achieve this, you can't keep everyone into the bench and ask them, okay, what's your problem? Okay, I will take it. What's your problem? We can't do this factor. So in terms of making it much more clear, we need to have set of understandings with the team, like making a very clear setting of goals, and of course we need to have in a regular session of meetings and synchronizing with every individuals of the group, and then make a centralized plan where everyone is understanding. For example, if one person say I need 4 days, another person say if they don't agree, so we need to have in a centralized plan where everyone is being understand the plan. And of course, we need to drive from the early involvement from the R&D, because they are the source where they have been starting off all the activities. So we need to have a detailed participation from the beginning, not just by say example. I can say considering it in a normal day-to-day work, we can say that yes, of course, we are taking today in a car for long drive. Because okay,
Hmm.
you can't just say that just wake up and then directly goes and then take the vehicle and we will not drive. If it
Yeah.
is a long drive, we will make sure that some early involvements taken to care. Like we will be like before the day, we will make sure all the electricals and all your mechanicals items are okay in your car. and you make
Yeah.
sure that the car has been well maintained and with all
Yeah.
papers and everything ready. And even in the morning time before we start, we will take some care of time to make sure that everything is ready with the car.
Yeah.
So this is something like to make sure that early involvement, like if you're going to start from your home by 9 p.m. for 9 a.m. something 9 p.m. to start your journey, like from 7 or 6:30 itself, we will start concentrating on that area. We will be making sure everything is right on way. But we won't say that is a waste of time. But it is
Right.
much more important to make sure that the start point is being well prepared.
Well
And
prepared.
once that is well prepared, then of course the rest of the areas is going to be ensured just to follow. So, in my opinion, is then to make sure that an early involvement, particularly on the manufacturing part, with the R&D team as well as with the marketing, and the most important thing with the supply chain, because something is inside your factory, inside your home is achievable,
Yeah.
whereas you cannot able to be predict that what's happening on your outside world, and where from there it depends upon. It truly depends on your factors. Means then we have to be careful on that. That is called supply chain.
Right.
So on your summary part, I can say that if we have early involvement with R&D and manufacturing and marketing guys with a very clear goal, and then make sure that we have a regular touch up with everyone, and then make it everything in an open platform in a project plan, and make sure that everyone is aware of the situation. Not like
Situation.
something goes wrong and some of the CFT team doesn't know, that's another fight. Because when there is a unity is there as in a team, of course one person loss can be compensated with another area.
Right.
So it's about a cross-functional team. Always I treated them as a rally run race, what they do. So
Okay.
one person delays and another person will compensate, but the next person has to know that the first person is getting delayed. So this is a key factor I can say, and also a key characteristics and a skill has to pursue by a NPA manager to make sure the result goes very perfect.
Excellent, excellent. In fact, you have covered my. I was about to ask about how early you have to get involved in the particular project. So you have answered that also in this. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick break here and we'll come back after this very small break. Welcome to the Global Electronics Talk Show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the viewers from different parts of the world. Global Electronics Friday Talk Show is mainly we are targeting on the electronics manufacturing activities and the trends and the challenges and what kind of processes are there in the electronics manufacturing so that the electronics community can make best use of our guests' knowledge and knowledge sharing and so on and so forth. And thank you very much for supporting the channel. And I would request please do subscribe to the channel so that you can definitely watch the shows which have happened in the past and then you are able to get the notification in the coming shows. We are talking about new product introduction and its benefits and the challenges engaged or involved in the electronics manufacturing. And we have Mr. Vishwanathan Venkatesan from, or V Vishwanathan from Chennai, who is a technology expert, and he has been in the electronics manufacturing industry for more than 20 plus years now. So let's continue our discussion, Mr. Vishwanathan. And the next question I have here for you is what are the biggest risks in a typical NPI project and how do you mitigate them? This is a fantastic question, and I think in any particular project, there is always some kind of risk is involved. And as an NPI individual, what kind of risk, involved in a typical NPI project and how to mitigate those risks? Welcome back, Mr. Vishwanathan.
Yes, sir. Welcome back. Thanks for taking the this risk topic. Of
Yes.
course, whichever we takes and wherever we go, risk
We
is one
cannot see
factor
you.
which have to discuss.
Your video is
Yeah,
not
I'll just.
turned on. Yeah.
Is it now?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, risk is a key factor. I can say this. Of course, in generally in project management, risk is a key factor, and it has a special attentions, and
Hmm.
people used to give very detailed time to spend on this particular topic.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone has curiosity to understand this area.
Right.
So risk. So in particularly on NPAs, I can say that the risk is more on the particular area because in the risk in the sense it has not happened. To be honest to say, so risk is
Hmm.
something that we have found there is a problem is going to be foreseen because if
Hmm.
there is a problem has occurred, we will say it is a failure. It is a problem, it's a
Yeah.
mistake. So that has a different terminology to define. But risk is
Right.
one thing to be keenly to say this portion something that we have an prediction and we are
Hmm.
able to foresee the problem or
Hmm.
foresee the non-occurrence, the uncertainties can be understand by everyone. That's another factor. So of course, in global market, in any of the technology, in any of the industrial area, risk is a particular area where they will be concentrating in very detailed way to take care more attention. And of course, you can able to see in all the projects, in all the activities, risk is one factor will be given priority.
Okay.
It not only on the product development, of course, on business, also on the marketings, even on we can say this in our day-to-day work also, we will make sure that risk is being properly addressed. Of
Yeah.
course, addressing in the sense risk can be categorized in two ways when we are addressing. One is the mitigation, another one is contingency. So let me just quickly take the time on briefing
Yeah.
that factor.
Please. Please do.
So risk is being mitigated in the sense what is the key difference in project management used to explain is that
Yeah.
you take the risk and you know the risk is going to happen, but you find the way to have a least impact by that risk or the
Hmm.
problem. That's
Hmm.
how called as a mitigation. Whereas comes to the contingency plan, in the contingency topic, what we used to do, we used to avoid the risk to occur for the instant. So like we will not allow the risk to happen for us. So we will try to find another way or another route to avoid the occurrence of the risk itself. So for an example, on a key example on our day-to-day life, I can say that when we find uh, there is a traffic jam in a nearby route when we are traveling to our destination, we see there is a risk to not able to reach our factory or our premises or any of the location
Yeah.
destination may get delayed. So if we are able to handle the time within the risk, for example, there is a traffic jam is being seen for an hour, and if you have
Right.
a time that you can able to handle that 1 hour, yeah, of course you can able to go further and take the route. That is called as
Right.
mitigation. Whereas when I
Yeah.
say that no, I cannot take this one, let me take another route, but of course it will take another 20 minutes for me to reach out, or it will take another 5 to 10 kilometers to reach out. But of course I try this going on that way because I see that this 1 hour is not much clear. It can be an
Much. Yeah.
uncertainty, it can extend. So this is how the situation is there. If you accept or if you take that risk to occur, then with a well prepared manner, then it is called as mitigation. But
Right.
whereas when a risk is not to be taken across the way and you don't want to take any chance of taking it, of course you can take it as a contingency. When particular NPA projects, the major risk particularly concentrated on the design flaw and then sometimes on the production delays. Of course, the next is after the when there is a product is being made, but there is a quality issue.
Yeah.
And the most another form of risk I can say is on the communication gaps.
Mm.
So there is a poor communication between the team. So of course, how to handle those portions? That's another way.
Correct.
From my experience,
Yes.
I can say this: when there is a design flaw is there, we are not there to just pinpoint there is a design flaw. Everyone can say. So on the design topic, as I just mentioned in the earlier your questions, we have to give more concentration on early participations, though
Yeah.
it is not into our room or it is not into our books. Like
Mm.
even though we are not able to understand what the R&D guys of design guys are speaking, let's be there and then and see
Yeah.
from the third eye point of view or with the layman point of view something that which they are not able to find, we are able to find. That's the one. And production delay, of course, we have to have some preliminary checks. How like we used to make in a
Yeah.
small sizes, and then make sure that we are practiced well
Right.
for the particular real time production. So that is the thing we can able to say on the mitigation point of that. And of course, on once we have been well prepared, I don't think so. Production delays or quality issues are being a vulnerable factor. That's what I
Yeah.
mentioned to say. And
Yeah.
of course, for the poor communication is another key factor. It's up to a subjective matter
Yeah.
because it's all about when and what way the communication delays happen. So I
Correct.
always normally prefers to take like a 4H and 1W, which means that I keep asking them how. It won't
Yeah.
why. Because
Yeah.
here how it is means that the higher you ask how, the more you will get the problems. Then we will
Yes.
be able to say the last W, because the last W why I make is when the why comes, we have to ask to every one of the cross-functional team, not just by to single person. But how can
Correct.
we ask to every individual person, collect the information,
Correct.
then ask that why we have been like this. So
Right.
that can be an accommodation part. We can see this. So I believe by making this achievement, we should be able to mitigate the risk and take forward the project.
Excellent, excellent answer. So, Mr. Vishwanathan, I think we are almost now coming to the end of our today's session because of the time. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for participating and watching and supporting the show today. We are talking about NPI introduction and our NPI role of NPI in the electronics manufacturing, the benefits and challenges. Mr. Venkateshan Vishwanathan, who is a technology expert and based out in southern part of India, which is called Chennai, India, and he is currently an NPI engineering manager working for a huge EMS company in India. And with his wealth of experience, we are able to cover part one of NPI sector today. But we will definitely, I think next week probably we can cover the part two of it. And that we will definitely will let you know in a day or so, checking Mr. Venkateshan's availability and his schedule. And but please do subscribe to the channel so that you can watch our past shows and also the upcoming shows details. You are able to get the notification. Thank you, Mr. Vishwanathan, for your valuable time, and have a wonderful weekend. And to all the viewers, all the guests who are supporting and who are watching the show, thank you all, and please take care of yourself, and God bless. And we will see you next week at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ranjit.
Yeah,
Thanks for all
thank
of you.
thank you. Bye.